blockchains and DAOs are all just a consensus opinion of a group of people. And it's not, your tokens are not your property. Your tokens are the opinion the community has assigned to you at this particular moment in time. And that has that interpretation and that understanding has huge implications around both legal standing for suing people and tax implications. Because if you change your opinion and you say, man, Dan, I think you're worth $1 million. I don't get income just because you think I'm worth $1 million. You could change that tomorrow and think, Dan, you're worthless. Right? That's just you changing your opinion. It doesn't matter if you and 20 people think the same thing and all agree that I'm worth $1 million and the next day I'm worthless. That's just people changing their opinions. And it's only when you start saying, well, that's my property, and there's some kind of implied contract outside the blockchain that says this belongs to you and I'm transferring title to you. And if you take it for some other means, now that's theft, because the government is the one that decides who owns what. And the government's the one that says there was a contract here, and the government has authority over the contract between people. If you want to say the government has no authority over the contract, that means there is no contract for the government to enforce. That means everything is just people reaching consensus on who owns what. And that's what blockchains are supposed to do.
That's good. That's a good one.
It's counterintuitive because everyone's like, no, they stole my Bitcoin. Okay, well, that's why we need consensus. So if it actually was theft, like someone held a gun to you and transferred, the community can recover it for you, because the community has the tools and the governance process to reach consensus in a respectable manner, right? It's like the court system is considered respectable when it probably shouldn't be, but when the court orders it, all right, everyone sort of said, all right, that's legitimate. The court ordered it. And if you disagree, appeal, and that's all just and fair because that's what we agreed to is the process. Well, we need to create an alternative process that's more respectable than the court system. And that process is what we agreed to. And that's how we say that opinions are not property. Opinions are not income. Opinions are not capital gains or losses. The only time you have any of those events is when you give me something tangible in exchange for an opinion. Now I've got income. Now I've got, like, the income is the tangible thing I gave in exchange for updating the community consensus opinion that you have more. That's my, not an accountant, not a government agent or regulator, but that's just me trying to apply logic to an area. And this logic only works if people understand and agree and sign up for that explicit understanding of the meaning of what this is. If some people are treating it like property and other people aren't, then you're going to have a government decide which one it is. And who do you want to associate with? People that are treating it like property, or people that are treating it like an opinion of the community, a consensus opinion? You want to associate with people that are treating it like a consensus opinion, because the people who are treating it like property are opting into the old system. They're bringing the government into the middle of decentralized system.
So would you say then it becomes property, like the moment that you're talking about the fractal tokens themselves?
I'm talking about any crypto token in theory, but when you receive actual property, right? You sell me a cell phone, you give me a cell phone, and I tell everyone in the community, hey, he just gave me a cell phone. Isn't that great? And the community like, wow, we really appreciate him more. He's got more respect because he just gave Dan a cell phone and we respected Dan. But Dan just got something now, so we're going to reduce his respect because he got something from somebody and so forth. But it's and so I would have to pay income tax for receiving a cell phone, right? That would be the theory because I got something tangible. I don't receive income tax if the community just assigns me an opinion that I'm worth so much. It's not until I use that to get something tangible that the system can actually recognize something that's not just an opinion. Because I don't have the rights to keep it. The community always retains the right to change their opinion, which means I don't own it. Right? If the community has the right to change it, I don't own it. If I don't own it, I haven't received anything. That's my legal theory of how this should operate. And based on that legal theory, and based on that interpretation, then at no point in time can anyone ever be sued over the allocation of tokens. If the community thinks that tokens were given for someone that shouldn't receive it, then the answer is to change the consensus and take the tokens back. Community has already done that with respect to Block 1. They could do it again with respect to any liquid tokens Block 1 still has. They don't go to the courts and try to demand Block 1 give tokens back, because the courts can't order the community or Block 1 to change their opinion, because you have freedom of thought. At least that's the theory. So that's my overall take on the broad scope of what I'm trying to do for the EOS ecosystem, for the advancement of the concept of DAOs, the legal theory around what tokens and blockchain ledger state actually is. It's not property, which is what they're trying to classify them as commodities or property for tax purposes. And that only applies if the community is actually treating it as property. But if they're treating it as opinion and consensus opinion, that's not property. And if that's why everyone's explicitly agreeing to it, now the burden's on the government to prove that it's something other than that. And of course, this is all international. What jurisdiction is this in anyway? So that's my opinion. And I hope everyone can see that, I'm trying to offer solutions for the betterment of all of EOS